President Zuma speaks out on a partnership with government and hundreds affected by rain in the Cape. Good afternoon. President Jacob Zuma has told rural communities in the Eastern Cape to form partnerships with government to improve their living conditions and to get out of poverty. He visited Lady Frere, Kumako and Kofimvaba as part of his Masibambanek Rural Development Initiative. Zuma participated in the milling process in Lady Frere and inspected the dairy farm and crop production. SABC presidential correspondent Ntebo Mokobo reports.
President Zuma's Masibambane Rural Development Initiative is part of the Zero Hunger campaign in the Eastern Cape. It seeks to resuscitate the arid land and assist with irrigation machinery, among others. After visiting the dairy farming and crop production facilities in the Kumanku village earlier this morning, the president promised to reopen the disused crop silos, which used to be the source of food for the greater Transkei region. Again, plans are in the offing to reopen the Kamata train station for locals to transport their products to other parts of the country. President Zuma is also expected to hand over livestock and tractors to beneficiaries later in the day. Ntebo Mokobo for SABC, Kofimvaba in the Eastern Cape.
Over 23 people have died over the weekend in road accidents. 18 people died in Craddock following a collision between a school minibus and a passenger bus. 4 people died in the Western Cape in 2 separate accidents overnight, and 4 people died near Sasolburg on Friday night. The Department of Transport has appealed on motorists to work together with the government to reduce road accidents. Spokesperson Diani Rekhoto.
There is no holiday break for exercising the rules of the road at all times. We urge motorists to continue to observe all rules of the road at all times without exception, because that's the only way in which we can bring down the number of road fatalities that we continue to register on our roads annually. Currently, we're talking about 14,000 a year. We're talking about at least 2,500 every month. We're talking about 1,000 a week. We're talking about 40 people who lose their lives on the road every day.
A family member of Jackie Selebi has confirmed that the former police chief has been discharged from the Steve Biko Academic Hospital in Pretoria. Selebi was discharged yesterday and is currently at home. The family member did not want to give her name. Selebi was released on medical parole on Friday after his wife Anne successfully applied for it on his behalf. Medical Advisory Board Chairperson Victor Ramasehle confirmed that Selebi is terminally ill and in the final stages of renal disease complicated by diabetes. Selebi was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment for corruption in 2010 and his appeal was denied last year December. He served only 229 days of his sentence, of which most were in the Steve Biko Academic Hospital. Hundreds of people affected by the heavy rains at the Kosovo informal settlement near Philippi on the Cape Flats are queuing for food and blankets, which is being handed out by a humanitarian organization. Kosovo is one of the worst affected areas following the weekend's heavy rains, which have lashed the Cape Peninsula. Some of the residents say the water, which has entered their shacks, has damaged everything. They say although the blankets delivered will protect them from the cold a permanent solution needs to be found. They also say they want to be relocated away from low-lying areas. The city of Cape Town has rendered humanitarian assistance to over 7,000 people in about 12 informal settlements since yesterday. In other news, the British government says it will provide more than $2 billion over 8 years to pay for contraception services in poor countries. The pledge has been announced at a conference on family planning hosted by the British government and the foundation set up by the software billionaire Bill Gates and his wife Melinda. The summit launched a program to extend family planning services to 120 million women out of an estimated 220 million around the world who want but cannot get reliable access to contraception. Executive Director of Reproductive Health and the HIV Institute at the University of Witwatersrand, Professor Helen Rees, says the Minister of Health, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, is considering the introduction of a new contraception policy for the country.
And in that, what we're hoping to do is expand the number of contraceptive methods that are offered to women so that women have a bigger choice. And choice will increase demand, it will increase uptake. At the moment, the choice of contraceptive methods is very narrow. So that's the way that South Africa is doing it, and that is very much aligned to our constitution in terms of rights. So there is a big worry that we've got far too few methods really easily and readily available to women. That will limit uptake and that will limit choice for women, and that's what the new policy hopes to address.
Still in news abroad, ceremonies have begun in Norway to commemorate the day a year ago that saw 77 people killed by Anders Behring Breivik. Many of them were teenagers attending a summer camp on the island of Utøya near Oslo. Others died in a bomb attack in the city. Events are taking place at both sides. Church services are being held with King Harold and the Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg laying wreaths in memory of the victims. Stoltenberg says the attacks have united Norway.
Mr. Breivik took many lives. Much suffering was given to us. This was meant to change this country. However, the Norwegian country answered by gathering around our values. He lost, we won.